Why countries need atom or hydrogen bombs, even after the creation of United Nations organization. If United Nations organization is not the solution, then what might be a better solution?
Well, as you know, when the United Nations was established, it was nearly 2 decades after the first attempt to find a peaceful solution amongst nations, and the League of Nations failed. So when the United Nations was finally established, and in our city, New York City, it was a lot of great expectation that there would be a way, especially post-World War II. But again, if you look at what happened in the 1950s and 60s to the day today, all these different conflicts are raging worldwide and dangerous, very dangerous. So it's not a point of atom or hydrogen bombs. Can we really harness the energy that all of this technology produces to create a better world? Or are we going to keep killing each other for things that we are to satisfy maybe the ego of a few? This is something that people have to become much more understanding of the dangers involved. So nobody really wants it. I don't think anyone in this room, from wherever we come from, can even think of what would happen, God forbid, if there were another nuclear attack somewhere. I don't think that's the solution to anything except destruction completely. So how do we rise above it without all these threats from one another? We're constantly making threats. And these threats should not be taken for granted, because when you say something, you may be accountable for what you say, whether you be a government or people in the different fields of endeavor who feel, very empowered to act a certain way. And it's not to point a finger at any country at all, but everyone. We're all responsible for what happens in the world around us, because we must take much better care of our reactions. And I think a lot of the hope and faith is in the younger generation. I mean, people who are today between 20 and 45, that's the middle ground. And they have tremendous responsibility to protect and prepare for the future. So again, a lot of this is how are we going to react to all the new technologies that are out there, both to educate and protect people, not from one another perhaps, but from the dangers of what could happen if we're not more cognizant of the reaction to these terrible, terrible circumstances that we have seen in our time. So let's hope that the United Nations, of course, will serve the purpose of dialogue. Dialoguing, again, hoping to share and be an understanding of the resources and not look at the world in such division that this is poor and this is rich. And we have to look at everything from climate to the production of viable food and clean water and everything else that's necessary to survive. And that's where we should be putting our financial wealth, all of us.
Thank you. Is it possible to build a global citizens movement?
Well, here we are, at the beginning of another global citizens movement, just by being here with all of you because you care. So, of course, I think there has been really this movement concept, and maybe now it gains even more reality because of technology, communication ability. I mean, even the department at the United Nations that World Council, my organization, is affiliated to is now called the Department of Global Communications. That alone can tell you that these departments within the confine of the UN, institution, are reaching out to people worldwide. And then you have the private citizenships of people from education to the private sector, to all institutions who can come together and look at the global citizen network. I think there are many. And with the ability to communicate via technology and the caring to do so, to outreach, network, you'll find more, I think, of these opportunities available.
Is the Nobel Prize for ICAN a breakthrough for United Nations Goal 16 peace?
Well, first, I'm very happy to know that you all are aware of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, of which there are 17 now. And each one of them are interconnected in many ways, and they all count. And I think let's give the United Nations credit for marketing the concept of these goals very creatively, because everyone should just be aware of them. We may not be able to actively, let's say, solve certain things, but with knowledge and the community of people thinking creatively, we probably could make a difference, make an impact. So in terms of the Nobel Peace Prize, it's the most famous recognition in every field. The fact that the Nobel Peace Prize recognizes these, shall we say, concept for the UN goal for peace is important for giving inspiration. And the fact that we must continue to work with the recognition of those who are doing so. So, of course, it has a deep value.
Do you think that SDGs are the continuation of MDGs or something new for the future development of a country?
Well, it's for every country and actually back down to every person. And of course, the MDGs, which were formed in the year 2000, and everyone agreed to look at the 9 goals, which were all, again, around forever, but well, let's say, positioned for the United Nations to examine them, for people to become informed, and for even young people to become aware and to maybe advocate for something. And then came Hollywood, too, and other, shall we say, internationally known personalities who adopted some of these goals. The best example is Bono from the UK, who adopted the one on poverty. And then you had Angelina Jolie from Hollywood, of course, who adopted refugee concept. And down the line, you had so many people who were there to give their name and their voice to the more global community, which helped to, introduce these goals. So these goals, which were re-examined every 5 years, we had like +5 the first 5 years, +10, +15. So in 2015, it was decided to take the original 9 Millennium Development Goals and continue to perhaps extend the concept of what was necessary. And that's when they established the Sustainable Development Goals, because the word sustainable development became 2 key words that we must not forget. So the original 9 became part of what is today 17. And if you look at all of them, and I think today you find young people becoming more aware, as this young lady, Amy, and I'm sure her colleagues, it's very important, because awareness and advocacy is as important as trying to find solution. That is part of a solution, is to become aware, and that none of us can escape anything. Whatever happens far away in a desert or the mountain or any place in this earth concerns us all and will affect us all as we move on. So all the 17 goals are very relevant.
Will colonizing Mars or the moon help save humanity?
You cannot stop mankind's imagination, and how even thanks to television, or even in past history, great books written by, even not that long ago, by Jules Verne, or historical great philosophers from every corner of the world, always either wrote about, dreamt, envisioned something about our space area. We are part of space. Mars is a country, can you imagine what I'm saying? A planet that is being very much thought about and visited in terms of its potential, the moon. These are now, for young people, they take it for granted. Can you imagine? Why not? It's not the point of saving Earth. We may have to work together to look at our planetary, shall we say, extended planetary world that we're just part of. So I'm not a scientist, but I also have an imagination. Now you should ask me, would I go? And I might if you all come with me. So who knows? But I think that it's something that's going to become more extensive, again, as science becomes much more deeply invested in all of these explorations. So saving Earth, or perhaps we work together with other planetary life forms, it's an imagination that has to be considered and respected.
So last but not least, would you like to say something special to our Wall Street Times readers and audience?
Well, first I want to congratulate those of you who are the founders and people who work within the Wall Street Times. Any type of great, shall we say, opportunity to express through the media what people are thinking and feeling and ideas to share, that's the most important thing. So if we share educational concepts, cultural, even science, we cannot be the politicians of countries. We should never be hijacked by anyone. We must, as people, have the opportunity to express ourselves. And again, for the good of the world and for uplifting people who may not be as fortunate as we are, and also for the millions of young people who will be both affected and even impact all of us as they mature. So I say to the readership of Wall Street Times and my dear friends here that I congratulate you for making this effort and for inviting people. Diversity is something we must embrace. And whatever we are thinking and feeling, we have to share ideas. And this is a very good venue. Thank you so much.
Thank you really much for your time and support. I wish you have a pleasant day. Now I'm going to hand this over to Mr. Ming.
Yes, Ms. Sherrill Kazan, you give us a very good speech today to our audience, to our readers, because as you just said, this is a Chinese, Wall Street Times is a Chinese news medium plus electronic trading platform. And we want to, before the interview, you talked about something about peace and love, and especially the people from China. And we go back to China and to our generations, our younger generations, like Amy Chen, and even younger. So would you like to specify your speech to this subject once more? Thank you.
Well, you know, when you talk about peace and you're sincere about it, you make an effort to extend yourself to your fellow man and woman, mankind, as we say. When you speak of love, it's because you should think of love before you think of anything negative. And it's good for your own within, your own soul, your own mind frame, and your own physical well-being, mental and physical well-being. We may be all very different. I still feel we have very similar aspirations in life. I'm wishing you all the best, and I'm sure you feel the same for me. And therefore, we have to extend this well-being of thinking of peace and love as something very real rather than just saying it as a part of a sentence. How do we spend our time to really reach out to people and make them feel more secure? Nothing is perfect. The word perfect is a great word, but that's too much to, reach out to. We should think of what's possible. And what can we help, looking at these concepts of peace and love. And since I'm the president of a New York City park, in the name of our second Secretary General at the United Nations, he was from Sweden. His name was Dag Hammarskjöld. And it's a very important name to remember, and all of you should read some of the books and his poetry. He was a very famous personality who loved mankind. Sadly, he died in a plane crash in 1961. But when we established this plaza, we named it after him with the blessing of New York City. And I say that because we have a cafe on the corner, and now the name of it is called Peace Garden. So even to have a word peace in something crossed to the United Nations is a reminder to everyone. You have to think that way. Think of peaceful things. Think that peace is possible, and love each other. It's not that difficult.
Very good. In Chinese, we have a saying that your presence bring our house full of light and pleasure. And 您的光临使我们蓬荜生辉。今天不但有Sherrill光临，还有我们的范主席。今天我们做了专访，今天再次光临，支持我们《华尔街时报》，到访我们记者站，来支持我们的新书发言。那么就此机会，范主席我 一大早每天早上起来就听你的演讲，所以你今天要再给我们说2句，谢谢你。
Actually, I'm most impressed of this beautiful young lady. I know her. When she was very, very young. Now you're still young and pretty. Now, actually, I met her many years ago. I had a painting exhibition in the United Nations. You come here as a key figure, give us many opinions. We love that. And then when I come back to home, I told my mother about this. My mother was so impressed over you, and she actually left you. She won't give all her heart to you. And she's such a person, just like you are. And that day, I want to let a delegation from Taiwan to China to be a peaceful trip between each other. Many people want to kill me. And then my mother want me knee down and open her, put the blood on my head. My son, for peace, love of other people and across trade, go to do the ice breaking, despite the death or life. So she want me to tell you that. And unfortunately, and she died. So now, in this occasion, I will show my mother's love to you, okay? And also, I'm so impressed with you. This gentleman, he's wonderful. And he did so many things under such an unfavorable situation. He doesn't care about money, doesn't care about his time. He just go ahead and do it. Wonderful. And today, you invite this wonderful person come here. I think really did a wonderful thing. I represent many people around the world, my friends. I say, congratulations to you. We all love you. And then, this lady, she read something. She had many big things in mind for the love and for the future, for peace of the world. And after this, we'll get together again to talk about details. You, remember, stay with us forever. We want you. We love you. This beautiful lady, Miss Wang, and she have served many, many things for me. I thank you for that. The only reason because he knows that we all want to do something for the people, for the world, and that's really something. So, and everything you said is exactly the same as my mother's mind, as my mind, as your mind. And maybe we learn from you. Otherwise, how come we have the same idea? Exactly. Now, I did a painting called Lover's Tears, right? You saw that. And the tears means there's 3 kinds of tears. I think I must learn from you. Otherwise, how come? The first tear is what? It's a tear of peace. Does that come from you? Well, we're all great. And the second is tears for what? For love. How come? Exactly like you said. Then the third, I think still maybe come from you. We have to get, now, many years ago, in the Western world, we have the Renaissance, right? That changed the whole world. And now, this time, the whole world has been changed. We also have many problems. We did a new Renaissance there. This one must be in culture, also in science technology. You just mentioned that. Maybe I steal from you. Maybe I steal from you and my mother, right? So let's together, let's do that, okay? We do for the world, we do that. Peace, love, and a new Renaissance, okay? Now, so to tell the world, we've done that. It's a mere moment for all of us. Let's write that down on my painting, okay? That's the words. You write the peace, you write love, I write, we 3 write, and what? New Renaissance, okay? Let's do that. Come on. Come on, right here.
Oh, that's very good. That's really something very special. Mr. Chairman Fan and Sherrill Kazan. That's real something we have for today.
It's already here.
Yeah. Oh, it's already. Yes.
Now what we do, we want
Yes.
everybody, starting from her and you,
Yes.
sign your name here, okay?
Okay, great.
Come here.
Great. Okay.
So this be a historical.
Just now, Sharon said, heroes think alike.
Now this is
Great. We China, great minds we call it 英雄所见略同. So great minds thinks alike like that. Great.
no, sign you
Yes, sign your name.
get the feel of the pen.
Yeah.
It's a brush pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, this is Chinese?
Sign here, sign here.
Oh, no, yeah. Okay, please. Yes.
Sign here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, it's nice. Maybe I in Chinese. Okay. Yeah, it's your signature. Yes. Yes. Weekly's history. Okay.所以我们今天是特别有意义的啊！我们在《情人的眼泪》这一幅这个范主席的独创的集作面前，我们这些人为了和平，为了这个世界的和平和我们的安宁和我们的大爱，我们在《情人的眼泪》这幅剧作上面签字啊，这是前所未有的事啊。然后这个我们的范主席来了给我们带来了艺术，带来了书法，带来了和平，带来了爱。这也是我们 Sherrill Kazan 是好的从联合国的这一届世界人民委员会带给我们的和平和爱。
正好一个历史你这产生的。
好的，我们
Now history has opened right here, and let me also write down my mother's name here also.
great.
Be okay? Agreeable?
Of course.
Okay.
Your mother's name could be here together with Sherrill,
Okay.
so that we all remember Sherrill as our mothers of the United Nations for the people, for love and peace, especially for the young people. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Beautiful.
Right.
Congratulations.
Now let's
Congratulations.
take a photo.
Yes.
The world. This will go around the world. Then we'll come back to United Nations. Okay? And with our hands keep over there, right? Okay. 那这个呢，我们会在我们明董和各位的引导之下，走遍世界，然后由他和 You and me 放到联合国去，好不好
Great.
？OK， 好。
Great idea.
好，热烈鼓掌，完成，
Very
胜利完成。
今天在我们这小小的办公室，我们做了一个伟大的事情啊！我们潘主席要说几句话，因为没有潘主席，我们就没有今天的聚会啊！多谢潘主席。
这个闵董事长，这个他是早就有准备，这个所以我要感谢我们王总 还有我们范主席的光临，这些朋友，还欢迎我们的人民主席Sherrill，谢谢 ，Thank you，Thank you。
好，现在我们王总给大家说两句。我们期待着去台湾中秋节举行两岸三地月光晚会。
Good afternoon. Because we have love, so we get together. Thanks God, I'm glad to come to United States. But I'm Chinese. Chinese is Taiwan's freedom, but China is not open yet. I hope to share the whole love, whole freedom for everybody.
Thank you.
Great.
时报新书发行仪式啊，今天是6月儿童节，我们的5月的花朵，这个书的名字叫《5月花盛开》，所以我们就像祖国的花朵一样，像5月盛开的花朵一样，持续的绽放青春的光彩啊！尤其是在我们的范主席和 Sherrill Kazan 今天的支持和出席下 ，I may Sherrill Kazan just like a Mayflower blossom in this summer to spread happiness, to spread life to the human being, to all of us, to the people of the whole world, of the United Nations.
This is an amazing title, Mayflower Blooming.
Yes.
So you can visualize the content. And it's always important to be expressive and acknowledge the great work and what can really be done as we move on in recognition of these wonderful words of peace, love. We hope prosperity for all, good health, and moving towards the future.
Terrific. 我们祝整个世界和平，充满了爱，也祝我们一个中国永远对世界做进一步的贡献，好不好？好。
For peace, love, new relations, prosperity, 和平、爱、新复兴、繁荣。Thank you.